So a modern dance studio is a pretty cool place to set your witch coven in. What would be less cool? And that is the most quiplash-ass intro prompt I've ever given. Where would you set your witch coven?
I don't think it's less cool, but maybe it's less sexy. I would set it in the Country Women's Association.
That's actually perfect, yeah. I mean, that's just hot fuzz, but like very more specifically gendered.
Ooh, pass the X's, Rosemary.
Wait, have you prepared the jam pentangle?
Ooh, a pen. Oh, I've done mine wrong. It's just a rhombus. That's not going to summon the Dark Lord, is it? Oh dear.
You'll be lucky to get an imp with that, Doreen.
Oh my god, I actually really want to write this now.
Sort of West Country witches coven who also run a knick-knack shop and a tea room.
Yeah, and they're like, they have to crochet their pentagrams.
And then a wide-eyed young Australian woman comes in order to be a part of this tea shop, only not realizing the ulterior motives that the proprietors have.
It's coming to you now, starring Ellen Graham.
This is a jam thinking about our bodies.
I don't know what song you're singing.
What the fuck? That's Suspiria by Tom York.
Oh. Why did you say jam?
I said jam instead of waltz.
Oh, okay. Well, that's completely changed the meaning of the phrase, hasn't it?
Hang on a minute. Did you watch the new Suspiria, or did you watch the 77 one twice?
I thought it was a really bold move from Luca Guadagnino to just do the exact same movie.
Yep. And this is the best CGI youth job I've ever seen. Like, the Susie Bannion actor looks exactly like she did in 1977.
I know, right? I find it hard to actually listen to what Tom York is singing. It just is like an unintelligible wailing that pierces my very heart and soul. and you just telling me now that it has lyrics, I'm like, oh, I guess in the same...
It's like whale song to you.
Yeah, I guess in the same way that, you know, a dog understands Shakespeare. Is me understanding Tom York.
It's very complex. I mean, you've understood how to pronounce the name in spite of the H, so I feel like that's all any of us need to know.
Great. Anyway, witches.
Yeah.
Look out.
Hello and welcome to One Good Thing, the podcast that needs guilt and shame, but not yours. I'm Paulina Marcos, and I am joined once again by Ellen of podcasts. Ellen, tell us your true name.
My true name? Oh, well, that's behind the Rollcast Patreon paywall.
Mother Ellenarium.
Mother Grahamarum? Well, because all of the mothers have cool names. It's like Mother of Tears and Mother of Sighs and stuff. But Graham just means like gravel home.
Mother of gravel home.
I am Mother Gravelarium. Mother of gravel.
Get off my gravel lawn, kids.
The way to summon me is just so specific. You just need to...
You just get on the lawn and you get summoned in order to tell people to go away.
Stand on some asphalt. I'm from podcasts. Yeah, check me out.
Yeah, from podcasts.
Yeah, that's
check
right.
It out.
Mainly Rollcast.
Yeah.
Go check that out. Mwah.
Yeah, find that.
That's for
good
your
stuff.
Yeah, that's for your journey. It's going to be a long one.
There'll be more when you get there.
Oh, yeah. Behind the paywall. Okay. Yeah, I'm here to talk about some movies, some spooky movies.
Ooh, yes, we're getting very close to Halloween, and it is also a decade episode, but rather than talk about a recent great film that we reckon is yet to enter the canon of great films and talk about why it should be a part of that canon of great films, we thought we might talk about a horror movie we both like.
Yay.
Like the old days. Talk about that canon.
The oldie timies, when we could
The
talk
oldie
about
timies.
any movie that we liked.
When we weren't bound to these arbitrary constructs we had created through which we would see film.
Kind of like a witch's coven. Being bound by
Oh
its
my
own
God.
hubris.
Yes, we lost our way, and now Ellen is here to either redeem us or explode our heads, I guess.
Yes, what do you
because-
choose, Sister Paul?
Death. Do you and Gilbert's like, oh, watch Grown Ups 2 again.
All right.
So, we are finally talking about Luca Guadagnino's 2018 horror film, Suspiria.
Suspiria, as I like to say.
Suspiria.
You're making some kind of deal with them. I don't know what you're talking about. It's all a mess. The one out there. The one in here. The one that's coming.
Yes, Ellen and I have had this on the books for a while. It is an homage to the classic 1977 horror film by Dario Argento, Argento's most famous and influential film. The journey of this film starts in 2006 with Guadagnino convincing Argento to allow a remake, and then recruiting David Gordon Green to direct, with Isabelle Huppert to star. And that fell apart, and Green directed Pineapple Express instead.
Whoa.
There's a shift.
What a left turn.
He famously went on to then direct the brand new Halloween trilogy. How's that turning out?
Oh. Well, the latest one is out. I have not seen it.
It is. I have not seen it, but I have heard about it. But I enjoyed Halloween Kills, so I guess we shall see. What happens.
Was Halloween Kills the second one?
Yes,
Yeah,
the one with like the mob justice.
Yeah, I did like that.
Yeah. In 2018, Guadagnino said that this was his most personal film to date. Terrifying man.
Wow. Oh,
This is the one I relate to the most from my life.
it's a bit spooky.
That's a bit spooky. Critics were not so ready to believe the worst is over. David Edelstein at New York Magazine said the movie would be a hoot if it didn't drag on for 2.5 hours and feature witches who talk so much that Hansel and Gretel would fling themselves into the oven to get it over with. Blah, blah, blah.
Oof.
Also, this movie would be a hoot. It's correct. That's what I was thinking during several sequences of this.
You know what I
is a hoot.
Yeah, you know what I go to see. When I go to see horror movies, I go. I hope this is a hoot. I hope this is just a dynamite time for me and my gal Friday, because I'm an old anyway. I'm an old timey man with an old timey thoughts.
Give a hoot, explode a Nazi.
Oh, all right. Actually, that
was the posters.
That's not a bad tagline.
Public, meanwhile, thought it felt like what they think it must feel like to fuck. Aaron Anderson, over on Google, I think, said, "If you're freaky, you'll like this. If, on the other hand, you just wanted some spooky entertainment, go elsewhere." Well, I'm freaky and I want spooky entertainment. What do I do?
Well, you have to watch this, but then you have to watch, I don't know, all of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remakes. Not the good one.
Monster would do that.
Not the good one. Just the bad one.
Only a freak.
If you're freaky like that.
God. If you're freaky, if you're kind of Suspiria-style freaky. The film has 6.7 on IMDb, 65% on Rotten Tomatoes, 64% on Metacritic, 76% on Google, that's low, and made $7 million on a $20 million budget.
Oh,
dashing all
what?
hopes for a sequel.
No.
Yeah, Guadagnino taught sequels, but then admitted in 2020 that the box office meant that's not going to happen.
No.
No.
Why?
No.
I want all of the mothers.
I need Bowser to cry sort of dog in a dog-esque fashion. Mournfully.
Well, he's actually very happy right now. I guess because we're sad.
He hated this.
Yeah, he hated
and he
Suspiria.
hates Guadagnino.
He did not want a remake. Not a remake. He did not want a sequel.
Oh, God. So, Ellen, you lacrimarum.
Yes, I am she.
What's what? I like that. Suspiriorum is just really, I am she. macromom. Yeah.
I've combined both of the mothers.
What if the other two mothers did just look like stereotypical Wicked Witch of the West style things?
Well, I have actually not watched Inferno or Mother
I
of
have,
Tears.
but I cannot. The thing about Argento is like the themes get.
He's Italian.
He's Italian and therefore mad. This is all Italian. Guadagnino is Italian as well, I think.
And
it sounds
then
very
me.
American. And then Ellen Graham reviewing it.
You get an Italian in to talk Italian directors. I appreciate
Fuck
it.
yeah. What's one thing about Suspiria 2018 that made you want to die? By which I mean, why this?
Suspiria. I think I saw Suspiria twice in cinemas.
Me too.
Yeah, I saw it with one friend who hated it and one friend who really
wow.
Yeah, and one friend who really loved it.
That's amazing.
Which was a really interesting experience. It was very polarizing. And I think I've just, with every watch, I've only kind of loved it more. Like, I think when I first watched it, I was really absorbed by just how visceral everything is, and just the, as someone who's studied acting and has gone through like that kind of fanatic adherence to a strict hierarchy within an artistic space where it does breed fanaticism. It does breed just black and white thinking of following orders, and deifying and deifying your leaders. Similar to like Black Swan, that is always going to scratch a nice itch for me horror-wise. And as well the choreography and just how everyone talks about the bone-breaking dance scenes, but as well when they dance the final piece, Volk, I was just absorbed. Yeah, and I think there was something so fantastic about the way they translated movement into witchcraft. The idea that
I love that.
And studying a little bit of Feldenkrais in acting school, which is essentially like a movement theory. We had to like dictate sometimes movements, and we would do these weird exercises of inhabiting like different strengths, different levels, different weights, different energies, and it does feel very witch-like, trance-like, and I was magnetized by that. And I think the more I've watched it, the more I've really appreciated as well the overall setting, just how oppressive the memory of World War II pervades everything, and how dense this movie is. It's like a delicious German cake.
It is. It's very full on. A German cake as made by Italians.
Oh, mate. Spitefully, I would assume. They think they're so much better than us. Chop, chop,
just because their dictator lasted like a week longer than ours.
I really love Suspiria 2018, so this was just a nice little treat for me.
Yeah, it is. I saw it at the London Film Festival in 2018. I think it was its UK premiere. It might have been the European premiere or something, but I saw it there very early in the morning, actually. I think I missed out on the gala screening the night before and went to the sort of matinee thing at like 10 o'clock on a Wednesday with Katie. And we both really enjoyed it. I think I enjoyed it more than Katie did. And then, I saw it again in cinemas, and just, ever since it has reserved this special place. But we shall talk more about that in a moment. First of all, let's have a little rundown of how most of Suspiria goes. We'll cut off at a certain point, as we usually do with our Defense of episodes. So people can discover the ending for themselves, because, oh boy, what an ending.
Yeah.
So
I also made no plot notes, so this is just me going off memory.
Oh, excellent. Well, it's 1977. Star Wars came out this year, as did Suspiria.
The first one.
So everyone's very emotional. And we start with Angry Germans, standard. And Kick-Ass is going to see her therapist, as Tilda Swinton.
Aw, spoilers.
Spoiler alert.
Nah,
spoilers for the press team.
It's old man Tilda Swinton who talks like this.
These mothers, they could be code names for founding members with metaphoric histories, I don't know. But I do know you're living with dangerous people.
Yes, Tilda Swinton 1, as I shall call her, for no particular reason. Call him, I should say. Yes, but Kick-Ass is mad because the witches are going to keep Tilda Swinton 2 alive by putting her inside of her. But if she leaves, they'll pick another girl. I forgot how early this all gets laid out.
Yes. Yeah, it's not really a mystery.
Not really. Here's what's going to happen.
Yep.
She's like an old mafia fixer. All right, here's what's going to happen.
I'll tell you what.
Oh, and Tilda Swinton 2 is not someone you necessarily want possessing you, incidentally, as you'll find out later on.
Yes. This is going to get very confusing. Tilda Swinton 2, by the way, is called Mother Marcos.
Oh, yes. Helena Marcos.
Marcos. And we can distrust her because she's Greek.
Yeah. Come on now. We're going to go fully into our European prejudices here.
That's right. I'm an Italian. I can make this joke.
So,
yeah, something.
But don't worry, we're going to narrow our prejudices down to just Europe. So, in the depressing bit of America, which is most of it, the bit they keep in the middle between the two nice cities, there's an opening credit sequence being had, and Susie, as Dakota Johnson, is leaving home because it sucks there really bad.
Sure does. Won't even butter your bread.
There's nothing to butter your bread with. And the bread itself is actually just a starving dog you've got with you. It's a bad place and a bad time. And so she decides that, very much like David Bowie, she wants to say, let's dance. And that Berlin in the 70s is the place to do that.
Sure is.
Yeah. Lovely, picturesque Berlin. Pictures can be depressing.
Yeah,
brutal.
And a lot of pictures of Berlin, I would say, are quite depressing, grey, marked by war and conflict.
Inner turmoil.
Yeah.
And divided.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, she arrives at Helena Marcos's school of dance, modern dance, that is.
Yes.
Which is, very close to the Berlin Wall. It's just there to taunt all of the East Berliners with their beautiful movements. It's the freedoms you're missing.
That's right.
Yeah.
No.
They play that boombox out the window with that creepy piano tune. It's like, it sounds great over there.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't sound ominous and spooky at all.
I'm going to tunnel again, Barry. Why is Barry in East Germany? Oh, no.
I just want to see some modern dance. Please, God.
I'll tell you who else wants to see some dancing is the judges, because Susie's not in yet. She's got to impress everyone.
That's
and
right.
And she does so with the best fucking editing anyone's ever seen.
Yeah. I know that Dakota Johnson learned she did 2 years of ballet for this role.
Yeah,
so some of the,
I believe so. Yeah,
some of the dancing is her, but yeah.
Oh man,
at that speed,
it's very good stuff. It's so good that she attracts the attention of Tilda Swinton 3 from the next room.
Yay,
Madame Blanc, if you're keeping score.
That's right.
Blanc, indeed.
No relation to Daniel Craig.
To avoid confusion, it's Tilda Swinton 1, 2, and 3.
Yes, that's going to be much less confusing. Yes, Tilda Swinton 3 in her beautiful flowing robes, who is the dance director. Not the head of the company, but she's the main artistic director, I think you could say.
Yes, some various intimidating looking ladies.
Boy, would
intimidating looking ladies. Mia Goth is here.
Yay!
With her accent.
Hello, hi. I'm sorry I'm late. It's the rain. Whenever it rains in Berlin, everyone jumps in a cab, and like an idiot, I just let ours go. Hi, I'm Sarah. We're gonna have to take our chances on the street.
Is she American? What is she?
I don't know. Her accent was very what's her name from Don't Look Now? God. Oh God, I'm trying to remember two things at once.
Oh no.
First of all, who was the lady in Don't Look Now?
I don't know.
Damn it.
I didn't
watch
watch it.
One of my favourite horror movies. Julie Christie. She's going very Julie Christie with the accent.
Oh.
And then, is she actually English? Hang on. Mia Farrow? I'm looking up Farrow, right? Mia Farrow?
No.
Mia Farrow.
Goth.
Mia Farrow?
Goth.
Oh, right. Yes. English. So I think she's just gone for super English.
Yeah.
I knew she was English. I've seen her speak live at that disastrous interview about High Life.
Oh yeah. Well, there's just a lot of accents and a lot of German going on, but because it's essentially a dance
Very confusing.
Well, yeah, because it's a dance company as well, there is lots of French too. So it's like,
oh yeah, just to mix it up.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
yeah. Well, we don't want things to get confusing. Anyway, meanwhile, with the witches, they're having a moody election to decide if it should be Tilda Swinton 2 or 3 who wins. One didn't run.
That's
2
right.
wins. So carry on, 3 tards.
There we go. Yeah. So we got. Yeah, it's a little vote. There's like a divide within the witches' coven.
Yes, there's a divide between nice Tilda Swinton and evil Tilda Swinton.
Yeah, the Markites and the Blankites, or whatever they call them.
I don't know. I just feel like evil Tilda Swinton has some points that good Tilda Swinton isn't addressing.
Oh yeah, what?
Yeah.
The fact
just stuff. I've not looked into it. I just get a good vibe off of it.
Yeah, we have that inner divide.
Yeah, so older man Tilda Swinton 1 goes for a walk to his depressing old home to remember his wife who disappeared in the Holocaust. It's nice to have hobbies.
Yeah.
Keep yourself busy.
Yeah, it's a very sad subplot, isn't it?
It's just going to happen now and then. Old man Tilda Swinton has to go and remember his missing wife.
go to his country house in the hope that maybe she'll return.
She might. You never know.
Jesus Christ. A bit of levity,
well,
am I right?
Well, let's get back to the witch dance school where everyone gets a kiss from Tilda 3, the nice one.
Boy, would I.
I hear you also get that. You also get that at the Royal Ballet School in London, I think.
Oh,
Tilda Swinton just kisses you hello each morning, then she goes off and does other stuff.
They fly Tilda in every morning. Boy, would I.
Sorry I'm late, miss. Did I miss? She waited for you. Oh.
Merci. Merci, Madame Swinton.
She doesn't speak French, and she really hates it when people speak French. So she just...
Oh, fuck. She hated this movie then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tilda Swinton 3 steps in front of the class and is like, oh, by the way, Olga's the one who's going to get possessed by the old witch now. Everyone cool with that? Yeah, sure. I'm not. Anyway, let's start. But yeah, Olga's not happy with it, so she tries to storm off. Tilda 3 does try to calm her down.
Well, yeah.
Patricia is gone, Olga. We don't know where. If she's gone into hiding, she wouldn't have told us, would she?
She would have told someone.
We know that she had dealings with people who are interested in targets. And we know there was another bomb in Kreuzberg last night.
She wouldn't do that.
She wanted to live her beliefs. Who doesn't admire that? And there's so much to change in the world. If she wants to live in a cellar filling bottles with petrol, that's her choice. And who won't be heartbroken if she's shot by police?
You bullied everything.
So what if Chloe Grace Moretz ran off and probably got shot by the police, probably, I bet I heard. Isn't that beautiful in its own way? But somehow that doesn't reassure her, so she gets horrifically danced to death.
She does, yeah. Instead, Susie steps up to dance the protagonist, who also has no formal training. And Susie says, I can dance this role of the protagonist. I have no formal dance training, but I have seen it performed live 3 times, and I've watched it a bunch at the library. Yeah, and she does. She can do it. Tilda Swinton 3 imbues her with some sort of magical pressure point energy. That means that when she dances, that energy is then unfortunately used to twist and contort poor Olga.
Whoops, poor Olga.
Yeah, which I would like to point out.
I forgot to disconnect. Forgot to disconnect Olga from the Wi-Fi before we started with the new device.
Oh no!
Oh no! But don't worry though, because there are some policemen here, and they'll sort this out.
Thank goodness.
So, thank goodness. So 4 minutes later, they're unconscious and having their cocks poked with hooks. Maybe we should be funding this. Maybe we can carry on.
What, funding the police or funding the dance academy?
Maybe both. I feel like both interaction here is dependent on good funding.
Value add. It's a value add for society.
But it's okay. We don't need the police because Detective Miyagov is on the case.
Oh, that's
she's
right.
got the,
Yes.
yeah, and she's got the accent for it. Hello, what's going on here then?
Because she's looking for her friend Chloe Moretz Grace, who she was very close with.
Yeah,
and she
thinks probably didn't get shot by the police or just run off and disappear.
Yeah,
although she was very involved in the RAF, the sort of revolutionary wing of the Bader-Meinhof complex thing. I don't think the Bader-Meinhof complex needed a revolutionary wing. I don't know quite what the
yeah, it's pretty revolutionary on its own. It's an ongoing thing, which adds this element of the coven being able to operate in more insidious ways, because there's just a lot of turmoil. There's a lot of people missing.
There's so much turmoil and
Yeah.
a lot of abuse of power.
Yeah.
And there's a
Metaphor for something.
well. It's all a metaphor for everything else. And yeah, they find out that Kick-Ass's Chloe Grace's file is missing. Suspicious? Suspirious.
Oh,
and then Dakota
roll
Johnson
credits.
winks at the camera. Yeah, roll credits, end of the movie.
So is Olga's file as
great.
well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the
Already, they're very efficient.
Yeah, the coven's saying that obviously Olga has quit. She's run out.
Yeah.
And
We're very strict GDPR policies here in Germany. We have to get rid of files as soon as we no longer have reason to keep them.
absolutely.
Data protection is very important to us. Witches. I mean dance school.
Dance school people.
Yeah, that's the one. That.
Yeah, you said it.
So,
Anyway.
speaking of witches, they all have a big meetup. Hey, what if Tilda 2 isn't really one of the three mothers that we all worship and are trying to transfer her spirit into a new body for? And what if doing so into Susie might fuck up and kill her again? Oh, all right, fine. Well, I'll keep sending her our weird vision dreams and make her practice this ritualistic dance to help prepare her body for possession. Oh, we also need a witness. Oh, okay. Well, Tilda 1's been poking around, so we'll probably just manipulate them. I'll conjure his missing wife and lure him here. Oh, cool. Wow, this is really frank.
What do you expect from a bunch of Germans? Wah, wah, wah,
Oh, they're so efficient.
They're so frank, eh? Eh? Yeah.
So Frankfurter.
Yeah, there's dispute about whether Tilda 2 is the embodiment of this great power, this like archetypal.
Yeah, Mother Suspirium.
Yeah, there's like these three.
Also Suspiriorium.
Yeah, there's three mothers that kind of predate other
Yes.
religion. These three, not crones, but essentially you have your goddess in triplicate kind of thing.
Yeah, sort of answer to the Holy Trinity kind of.
Yeah, which pops up a lot of in different faiths, but yeah, there's dispute whether Mother Marcos is this kind of embodiment, but also whether the ritual needs to change, whether it's about the person being possessed or whether it's about the ritual itself. Yeah, it's just a lot of division amongst these.
Yeah, the prevailing line is that the person the soul gets transported into needs to be willing, and that Chloe Grace Moretz probably wasn't too willing, seeing she kept running away.
That's a good sign. Yeah, I mean
it's a sign that she's not quite up to it.
Yeah. Whereas Dakota Johnson is taken to all of these visions and stuff like a fish to water.
Yeah, she loves it. She loves all this stuff. Suddenly she can speak French and jump really high.
Oh
it's
yeah,
great.
they steal someone's jumps and they give it to Dakota Johnson.
They stole my jumps.
Well, I felt really bad about that other girl.
Now my hoops are going to be really basic.
I'm going to get teased at the basketball court.
My mother's going to get so disrespected. And there's nothing I can do about it now.
Yeah.
It's a terrible day for that chick. Anyway.
Yeah.
Tilda 1 goes to the police, but they're all rubbish as their penises are. How do you know that? I mean, no, it's not.
I think it was less about the actual penis and more the fact that they could just
Yeah, they could just do it.
they could just poke it with a steel rod.
It's all right kind of penis.
Yeah, well,
A middle-aged, larger man to have.
It's very cold in Berlin.
It's very cold all over Berlin, is what the weirdly that performer wanted to list at the beginning of the credits, but Luca Guadagnino decided it would be inappropriate. So yes, it's back to Detective Miyagov, and What? Oh, that's it. Tilda 1 takes her for some strudel and tells her that the dance company is evil. Do you mean like properly, literally evil? No, don't be absurd.
But maybe.
Typical woman. I don't mean actually evil. I just mean they're kind of bad. Oh, okay.
Yeah, bad in the same way. He seemed to in the Tilda Swinton one, Old Man Tilda is a psychiatrist.
Old Man Tilda.
Old Man Tilda is a psychiatrist and is seeming to imply that, you know, esoteric symbols
mass
and
delusion.
Mass delusion is similar to how we see people rise in power and, you know, something.
Oh yeah, total Nazis.
Yeah, something that he has seen with the Nazi party.
Yeah.
So yeah,
he didn't do enough about at the time.
Yeah.
He didn't get his wife out in time.
Exactly.
In spite of her concerns. It's gaslighting, and none of you should stand for it.
Exactly. We only support girl bossing in this film.
Most girl bossing.
Yeah.
So, speaking of which, let's have breakfast with the witches. Nah. So how are we getting on possessing this girl? Well, how come it didn't work last time? Well, she was unwilling. That's why we're grooming Susie. Oh, yeah. It's good to repeat it, though, so that everybody's on the same page. Don't you think so, Susan? Ow! No!
Yeah, one of the witches stabs herself in the neck.
Yeah, that's pretty gross.
Yeah, I've seen different accounts of like why this might be.
Yes, me too.
Yeah, but I think it just overall adds to the fact that this tension within the coven, this uncertainty is reaching a kind of fulcrum, and
yeah, absolutely.
And not only that, there is something unusual about Susie.
Yeah, she's kind of odd. I don't know what's up with that.
Yeah, her being an immediate kind of prodigy and just, again, taking to being groomed by this coven so
yeah, she's good.
easily.
I mean, I came here to groom you, but you're taking to it so well. It's kind of freaking me out.
It is a little bit. It is. Yeah.
I mean, I need you to... I don't want you to do all of the work for me. Takes the sport out of it.
Yeah. And also we see that Tilda 3 has grown very fond of Susie.
Oh, yeah. Do. Get under my wing. Oh, sorry.
That's more right. There, yeah, that's more like it.
So, well, speaking of exposition, Tilda 1 meets with Detective Goff, and every time I say that, I imagine her in like a deer stalker and a little eye thing.
Oh,
and
she'd be good with that.
He tells her that there are 3 mothers, and Tilda 2 claims to be one, but might not be because Tilda 3 doesn't buy it. Also, the witches are like Nazis. I hope you're taking notes on this because we're only going to cover it. We're only going to cover it once more.
He's opening like the diary that he's pulling the information from, and just has theme circled like 20 times.
Relevant? Question mark. So
maybe
she says, anyway, I'm gonna go perform the big dance we've got going on, so you can come and meet me after that, and we'll discuss what I found out by poking around the creepy witch basement on my own. Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Hell
well,
yeah.
Good luck with the dance. You know, break a leg. And
oh, that's cruel. That's cruel and unusual.
Dude. Even she says, dude. I read the script. I know what's happening. There's no need to be a dick about it.
Yeah, she's gonna go poking in a witch hole, which sounds more suggestive than I meant it to mean.
Yep, it's time for the big dance finale, and as Kevin Bacon and Patrick Swayze both prepare themselves and squeeze into their lycra, we shall leave our plot rundown there.
Ooh, but just know, guys,
Ooh.
it gets freaky.
It gets pretty freaky in that final half hour.
It sure does.
There's a lot of fun stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just about at that point that my flatmates came home and watched the rest with me.
Yay. No one watched it with me.
As I desperately tried to fill them in on context as heads started exploding.
Oh, God. That's the worst time to come in to that film. And, oh, Jesus. Jesus Christ. It just reminds me when I was trying to watch Twin Peaks: The Return. And my mum kept coming in and going,
oh, no.
Oh, what are you watching? And I'd just go, Twin Peaks: The Return. And she'd go, I'll watch it with you. And I'm like, no, I'm
Aw.
I'm halfway through like episode 3, and she's like, "That's okay," and I'm like, "Oh, it's not."
I'm halfway through episode 3, and I'm not caught up on being halfway through on episode 3. So,
Mate, it was just very annoying to have like the finale of Twin Peaks: The Return, which was like a very like, very like weird and dreamlike and just shattering kind of feeling.
Man.
And my mum just turns
final sequence.
Yeah, and my mum just turns to me with like a second after it's finished and goes, "Is that it?"
To be fair, my mum watched all 18 episodes of that show, and I'm 90% sure she also said that when it ended.
Twin Peaks: The Return, maybe for mums.
Is that it?
But probably not.
Twin Peaks: The Return, is that it?
Is that it?
to be clear, I fucking love the way that show ended. It was so scary.
Oh,
It was perfect.
yeah.
Oh man.
Am I still mad that David Lynch made me sit through 3 minutes of someone sweeping a broom? Yeah, a little bit. But he gave me some.
I love
good
him all the more for it.
that
Definitely.
that scene was only on my TV. It's just a big prank.
This is the cinematic equivalent of having a sort of sub-dom relationship with David Lynch for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll watch through 3 minutes of this.
Now call yourself a dirty little girl.
Okay, after which you'll let me spend some time with Dale Cooper. Yeah.
No.
Definitely. No, do it anyway. Okay. That's what I deserve.
God, I love that man.
Yeah, he's great.
Upsetting man.
Suspiria.
Yep. Or as I like to say, Suspiria.
Yeah, that little exchange just there, which was used in the trailers, I think. The mother of, and then the other two, I can't. Darkness.
Lacrimarum.
Tears.
It's tears.
The mother of
It's
darkness. Tears.
Yeah.
Tenebrae is darkness.
Yeah.
Lacrimarum is tears.
Yeah.
And then just Suspiria's sighs, but just enough sighs.
Yeah.
Patricia wrote about 3 mothers, lost in time, predating all Christian invention, pre-God, pre-devil. Mother Tenebrarum, Mother Lacrimarum, and Mother Suspiriorum. Darkness, tears, and sighs.
Yeah, they
so
such cool. Yeah, I've since I realized that those actual mothers are based on a poem.
Yes,
Yeah.
that his wife, that Argento's wife got him to read.
Yeah. It's a very cool concept. I like it a lot.
It really is. And I wish that the whole trilogy worked better, but the last one was made well after Argento stopped making good movies, which was about 1990, to be fair. It was about 30 years ago.
Oh.
But the Tenebrae is good. Tenebrae, one of the main enduring things of Tenebrae, I remember, is that there's a sequence where a woman has to get swarmed with cats.
Oh.
And there's a frame where you can very clearly see the arm of like the guy who had to chuck cats at the actor. You just see it.
Wait, is that Inferno?
Yeah, Inferno.
Okay, yep.
Oh, oh, hang on, yes.
Because there's
Yes, it is.
Suspiria,
There's a Tenebrae, but it's
Inferno.
unrelated.
Oh,
Yeah.
what the hell, man?
Yeah, very confusing. Yeah, I know. Like the third part of the trilogy is like Mother of Tears, and it came out in like 2006.
The loosest of trilogies.
Yeah, very loose trilogy. Anywho, so yes, I saw this movie, and I was first drawn to the style and form of the film because it is really one of the most gorgeous and beautifully made horror movies, but just general movies. The muted colors, which are just utterly unique and captivating, sort of autumnal color palette is gorgeous.
Yes.
The deep browns and beiges, and then as red becomes a more profound color as we go through, more profondo rosso as we get to the end. It's just there's so many unforgettable shot compositions and framings. The dance sequences, and the death sequences, and the editing and sound design is just one of a kind.
The choreography as well of Volk.
Yeah.
And the final there is a final dance piece as well. It is captivating.
Yes.
I looked up that choreographer because it's based on
his name.
I want to say it's Daniel something, but I can't remember. But it's a version of this choreography that he made that was essentially about like the 3
inspired
fates
by
or the
Suspiria.
3. Oh, really? Oh, okay.
That's what I read, because it was like a circular thing that he was inspired by Suspiria and then does. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, but his The choreography and the dances, just it's so beautiful. It is so powerful, and it totally makes you understand how, with all movement, it is just energy through space, and how this could translate into this sort of witchcraft. Because it's the same when you watch dance, even something like ballet, which is quite formal. You're just watching these amazing feats of prowess and this control, and it is just it is magic. It's propelling bodies through air and dissecting the space with your own being, and it's the dance in this movie just really sets my heart on fire in a good way.
There's a whole bunch of my quickfires pertain to the dancing. There's just a lot of really great sort of individual moments and sequences that are really good, and it's so cool that the dancing is made essential to the story in this version, because there's a ballet school in the original film, and we'll talk more about the original film in our Patreon episode this week. But it's really cool that in this movie, the dancing is part of the ritual and is part of their power, and is the way in which they're able to sort of perform their power in public without raising suspicion. I mean, that's a really neat way of including the concept, marrying the two concepts together. And it's really seamless the way it disorientates you and abstracts frightening imagery and ideas. It's really unsettling. And I love the way that violence is portrayed, because I think Guadagnino has, and I'll talk more about this in a moment, in his portrayals of violence, he has a really interesting way of disrupting the audience's expectation of it. Because we've all seen violence, we've all seen horrible things happen, but Guadagnino disrupts the sort of typical way in which that happens, in order to make it newly and refreshingly upsetting. And he does that by making it really blunt, like matter of fact, or just very intimate and close. It's just that there's something about the way in which he makes violence happen that really makes it feel visceral, and the sound design as well is just horrific.
There's less of a reprieve from his violence, because a lot of the violence that happens, the people still breathe afterwards. They still live.
Yes,
and it's like that's,
you get to see the aftermath of it.
Yeah, which is so much worse. I think with a lot of those. With a lot of kills or violence in movies, especially in horror movies, there's the idea that it's like, it's the fear, it's the shock, it's the hoping, the brief hope that maybe they might make it. But then the actual kill sometimes does give you this sense of relief. It's over now. It's done.
Yeah, it's finished. The suffering is over.
Yeah.
Not in Guadagnino.
No. No.
There's a little detail which I'll get into later in the quick firing, but it's just, it really makes it human. And then we have the thematic concerns of the movie. And this movie has thematic concerns.
Theme?
It has themes. Hysteria and gaslighting as like a theme, and also just like a sin to be punished is really great. Like, our main guy, the sweet, lovable old man, Tilda Swinton, is not innocent. He underestimates women and doesn't listen to them. And that has cost the life of at least 2 women in his life.
Yes. And also it was possible that he was involved with the party.
Well, yeah.
Or,
I mean, he didn't leave. We don't find out much about why.
No. Yeah. And he just didn't it wasn't concerned about, what the rising Nazi power could do. It's a film about, guilt and, whether who should be forgiven, and this sense. There's a lot of anger in this film, like a lot of anger and resentment. I think particularly of like this. It's got this younger generation that's kind of balking at, that the sins of the father should just be forgotten. And that there is this kind of sense of like, well, maybe we can just continue. We can just continue, and we can keep the power that we earned and earned. I say,
exactly.
Yeah, it's
because
tricky.
A lot of people like to see World War II as being the end of the Nazis, but the fact is, removing all something like 800 million members of the Nazi Party from Germany would have hollowed out the country. I've overestimated that number, something like 8 million or something. I read it earlier today.
Yeah.
there were a lot of members of the Nazi Party who just remained in power, and a lot of people in sort of local government levels who just stayed because that was the thing you did. You didn't have enough non-Nazi Germans to replace all of those positions. And so the next generation grows up knowing the horrors of the Holocaust because there was mandatory teaching to kids. Like if you wanted your ration book, the Allies would make you watch like a video of, Alan Rene's video of the concentration camps. In order to get your ration book. So, like, people knew about the concentration camps. And so a militant kind of left-wing movement grows and doesn't want to go back to things. And so, there's terrorist incidents and murders and all the rest of it. And, yeah, it's a country turned in on itself. And the theme of forgiveness, of how to move forward, but also of power structures that can be corrupted. Because it's all about authority in this movie. And what's really interesting on an intimate level is the abuse of love and sort of feminine bonds.
Yes.
And the potential corruption of an organization that ostensibly rose to address injustice or to protect each other. And how that kind of thing can turn toxic is really interesting.
Yeah, there's a few interesting, tips of the hat to that thing, about talking about how Madame Blanc led the dance company through the war. And that was a time where strict ideas about women was to sit down, shut up, and make babies. And we have Mia Goth, kind of espouse this, very bright-eyed, and she talks about Madame Blanc, her attention is as addictive. That she as well, the sense in this film, or the thematic thing of abandoning mothers or false mothers, exactly, that false mothers will greet you and try and suffocate you with this false love. Susie having her Amish mother who calls her the sin.
Who's afraid of her.
That's right, the sin that she smears on the world, and abandoning that mother for then Mother Blanc, and then there's a lot of themes there about this kind of unquestioned love, I suppose, for a mother figure, and how the Coven use that. But then also, you get the sense that Madame Blanc wants to be that kind of mother figure, but then at the same time is still grooming young dancers for this ritual. It's an uneasy kind of place to be in, about bucking change, but then also the company must go on.
Absolutely. And as someone who's been big in the disability rights movement, I have seen how structures that arise in order to challenge injustice and to provide a sense of belonging to people can almost unknowingly become abusive kind of organizations that feed on its young members, sort of, cannibalize the enthusiasm of the young in order to sort of further its own kind of quest for power and influence, sometimes for benevolent reasons. But then, you wonder at what cost it comes, you see things like this.
Yeah, and especially in the art world, there is this sense of family and bond, and we talk about some of our lecturers like gods, especially like our movement.
Sure.
Our movement teacher reminds me a lot of Madame Blanc, not with like the outright affection, but the sense that the way she was like. We always guessed about her age, but she had to be past 60, and she had like been teaching at the school since the 70s, and like still did all the movement, was as lithe as ever, and like we would just talk about her as if she was like some strange shadow creature, the way she could just like appear in a room and you're like there's that, and I remember a teacher telling us, like, sometimes for a role you have to be a bit crazy, like not in terms of like your own mental health, but you do have to do things that isolate you from the world, like he was saying it for a role. Sometimes you just have to like spend 2 weeks not going out, not seeing your friends, just putting your head down and doing the work. Like you have to be a bit of a hermit about it. and increasing this sense of fanaticism of, we see it in the film, you have to be devoted. If you're not devoted to this, then you're not cut out for it. And the ones who do leave, they go, well, that's what happens, you know. They haven't got the right stuff. They're not strong enough. And that happened a lot when I was in acting school. It's that thing of like, well, you know, those who can't hack it, get out.
And this particular coven are just not going to let people walk away. You know, they're going to squeeze everything they can get out of dissenters, you know, and it's really sinister and very frightening, and also feels very well thought out and sort of thematically rich. And I think what's most exciting about it is that it almost intentionally takes everything that people loved about Suspiria and either puts it aside or puts a twist on it. You know, we're going to lose the bright color palette. We're going to lose the very jazzy kind of upbeat but weird soundtrack from Goblin and replace it with this sort of very melancholic soundtrack and a muted color palette. And then the famous murder sequences, which are very Giallo-esque, we're going to turn into these grotesque kind of body horror moments that are much more supernatural in their feel. And then the sort of weakness of the original Suspiria, which is the kind of rushed over premise and sort of unexplored sort of mechanics of the school, we're going to try and make a virtue of that and actually make the movie about that, which I think for the most part works. The only downside for me is there is a fair amount of exposition, as I've alluded to in the plot rundown. I'd have loved more of this to be a bit more abstract or ambiguous or just implied. But the nature of the coven, its structure, the power struggle, and the ritual with Susie and what they expect to get from it is all explained several times, in fact, which I know was a big draw for the screenwriter, David, and I meant to look up how to pronounce his surname, Kaj Ginich, I'm going to say. A regular collaborator with Guadagnino, and who, by his own admission, doesn't like the original Suspiria, nor horror movies in general, really, but was drawn to the idea of exploring this coven and how its power structure worked. And I feel like, I feel like I would have liked to have seen a bit more of that scaled back, and it only really comes down to two sequences. I like the election. That's ambiguous, because all you're seeing is a pan around the kitchen and people saying either Marcus or Blanc.
Kill.
Blanc.
Judith.
Marcos.
Uta. Blanc. Melius.
Marcus.
Martinci.
Marcus.
Huller. Marcos. Moucherli.
Blanc.
Marx.
Marcos.
Pavla.
Marcos.
Caplet.
Blanc.
Vendegas. Blanc.
It's kind of mysterious. You don't quite know what it's about. But then the sequence where they're sitting at the breakfast table explaining the ritual, we could probably either lose that or have them talking more specifically about the dance. You know, do you think Susie's ready to take this role kind of thing? And then, you know, with the benefit of retrospect, you can realize they're actually talking about her stepping into the sacrificial role. And then the conversation where Tilda Swinton is reading a newspaper and one of the other teachers comes over and asks her about how the ritual, like, preparation. And she says something like, I will continue to send her our dreams. That I might lose. Or, again, have it phrased a bit more ambiguously. But aside from that, I've written here it'd be nice to get more development of Susie and Mia Goth. But actually, I bought into them as their own people with their own concerns and as friends. And I really do like Klemperer's story. You know, when he's not delivering exposition, he's just so haunted by the loss of his wife and so powerlessly afraid of the youth who are going to be consumed by this school, but so set in his habit of underestimating women that he can't break that loop of suffering. And he's just like this powerless witness to the whole thing. He just sits back and fails to understand you know, his part in it all. He's just a very poignant kind of figure.
Yeah. And I think Tilda Swinton does a great job at playing him as well.
I love the voice.
Yeah, that's kind of why me and my friend always like say Suspiria, or Sarah.
Yeah, Sarah. I love it. I think it's great.
It's interesting, how you talk about the exposition. because I love the film, I don't know if, I'm finding it hard to fault because, like, as it is, I quite like the exposition. But that's not to say if it wasn't there, I wouldn't like it. You know what I mean? It's one of those.
If you'd miss it,
yeah, it's one of those weird things where because I'm invested and I really like the frankness of the witches discussing how they do the thing. It just and it was kind of a joy to see the internal structure of this company. Not just as a dance company, but as the coven, how it kind of runs in tandem, but clearly there is room where, maybe not clearly, but Madame Blanc has more aspirations of art.
Yeah.
Whereas, some of the witches are probably just in it for power.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I guess it bucks the trend of the original Suspiria, which is like, where you're kind of left in the dark for a very, very long time. This, we see the internal structure. We know that we know the machinations are going. Are going. And for me, I guess I always feel it's that Hitchcock thing of the bomb under the table of just like, oh my
that's true.
God. It's getting
that's
intense.
a good point because you know that the horrible thing is coming to Susie.
I get what you mean. It's like, more ambiguous language because it's just like, would the witches talk that way? It kind of sounds like they're having to let us in on the secret as opposed to they might talk, about the ritual or whatever.
Yeah.
But I guess it's the thing of these characters in the world don't know what they're they have no reason to hide what they're saying, but they also have no reason to explain themselves to others.
Yeah, that's true. Well, nevertheless, I think this is extraordinary. I think there's real magic in the frames here and something inexplicable and just completely possessing that has made me come back to it several times since first seeing it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's entirely its own thing and just a really, really good film. With that in mind, I think we should probably quickfire about it.
Cool.
Quickfire. Neat.
I like it. I don't know that I have any.
Yeah. I've grouped mine together, so hopefully it should be just,
well, I didn't take quick fire notes, so.
Oh shit!
Okay. I have said I love the way they talk about dance, especially the scene where Tilda Swinton takes Dakota Johnson to work on her jumps.
When you jump, it's not the height, but the space beneath you that matters. Every leap into the air must be a coup de foudre.
I don't understand.
A strike of lightning. A bolt of love, in fact.
That's beautiful.
There are two things that dance can never be again. Beautiful and cheerful. Today, we need to break the nose of every beautiful thing.
Any conversation that especially those two have about how the dance should move, how it should, react. And I love it. It's always such evocative terms, but it really does help you create this bond between the both of them. And the jumping scene in general is just so magnetic, seeing her just, consistently keep jumping until she finally goes like so high in the air. And I think Susie has the line of, sometimes I only need to be told twice after just like a series of higher, 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 higher.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's a little funny line and, it's sweet. I like it a lot.
Higher, 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 higher.
Sometimes I only need to be told twice.
Yeah, that's really good. I'll put my dancing ones together. The dance audition is just mesmerizing. The sound design is so good. Like when she does her first move and there's just a sort of fwah kind of sound, and then like the slams as we cut back to her and just a and it's really, really powerful. And like the spinning with the flittering and the sort of very 80s style synth that comes in is just, that's incredible. Some of Susie's really precise arm movements in the dancing to death sequence I really liked. Like she does these like really small kind of like things which I found very Yeah, really cool. I like the fact that the witches open the secret door with a gesture. That's a very cool sort of dance school witch thing to do.
Yeah.
And yeah, finally, like when the jumping is demonstrated, they get Caroline is the name of the character.
That's right, yeah.
To come forth, and she just like demonstrates this jumping of just sort of 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
And it's just like really cool.
Yeah.
It's a really good thing from that performer.
Yeah, she was great.
Yeah, she was really good. And then she gets her jumping stolen from her.
Aww.
Aw.
So sad. She does get a little hug from Tilda Swinton, which I suppose is...
Yeah.
Oh, I think I'm just gonna add any scene with Dakota Johnson and Tilda Swinton. They really have such a magnetic bond. So we have the scenes where we're talking about dance, but then there's the scene where they all go out for dinner, essentially the night before this ritual. I guess it's technically the night after their big show, so it is a big night, and they go out to celebrate, and everyone's tittering, and I think it's just nice to see. Like, yes, we know it's some of it is a facsimile, but some of it feels real of just like the matrons and the young dancers kind of, laughing and whatever together. Yeah. It does end up going into a weird place where they're kind of just like stroking the younger girls and you're like, ugh. Yeah. But the whole scene, Tilda and Dakota are just staring at each other. Like neither of them have eaten any food, and they are just locked eyes as while the room is kind of erupting in laughter and noise and song, and it's just it's incredible. And then we have Tilda and Dakota in Tilda visits her for in her bedroom, and this is I think again before the dance. And it's clear that she's worried. She doesn't want this terrible thing to happen to Susie. And it's a really eerie conversation, but there's such an underlying sweetness between the two of them. Yeah. That I really I love.
When you were dancing, what did it feel like inside you, inside your body?
It felt like what I think it must feel like to fuck.
You mean to fuck a man?
No, I was thinking of an animal.
Maybe I'm the one to fall for the false mother, but damn it, Madame Blanc all the way.
There is that sinister thing in there where you don't quite know what Tilda Swinton's intentions are and how much she's buying into this and how much she doesn't want to be buying into this. So there's, really good sequences. In terms of the aesthetic, I loved the desaturated palette. I thought it looked great. The sheer power of the red when it starts to sneak in, especially in like the costumes of the dancing, is really cool. The way that the farm looked, the city, the school, and the house at the very end that we go back to and end on is really great.
Oh yeah, with the heart carved into the.
I know, because the way they cut to it, it feels like suddenly we've cut to Call Me By Your Name. Like it's suddenly sunny and bright, and it's like this could be 10 years later. It could be, however much later, and it's just gorgeous.
We see a family living there now. It's so sweet.
Yeah. And I love the lettering on the Marcos dance troupe stuff and on the marketing for Suspiria, this sort of disjointed like letters all over the place, like they've just been haphazardly placed onto a pinboard kind of thing. I thought that was really cool.
Oh yeah, it does give you the sense that your mind is being altered.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. I mean, like, I think I've talked about the dance, so it's cheating, but maybe I will say Mia Goth leaning back to the dance. How she's kind of walking in amongst this like hidden corridor, and it's all fine. Then we, shot to the dance, shot back to her, and we see these holes have just appeared to form in the ground, like all of these little holes.
Those are great. They look great.
They do look great, and it's just such a sickening thing. And then when she steps in one and breaks her leg, it's it's visceral. But just the way that all of the rooms are imbued with something other, with something almost malignant, and it's I just remember that effect being really scary, not for a 1-2 shock or a her stepping in and breaking their leg is it's the relief of that, right? It's the climax. Yeah. But just seeing these holes slowly and quietly form in the space is really sinister. I love that.
It really is. And Mia Goth's performance of the leg break is just horrible. Her screaming is really visceral and sort of pitiful in its way of like sobbing and screaming, and it's just... Ugh, it really gets me. I'll have the editing and sound design. I'll sort of lump those together because I just loved them. There's a scene where Mia Goth is like nodding off, and it does like a camera tilt and a hard cut when it tilts. That was really good. The quick cutting around the doctor's office at the beginning is really jarring and adds to the sense of paranoia as Chloe Grace Moretz is like looking around the room for eyes that they might be watching her through, which is a very cool little detail. It's really setting up, without going to the school, it's setting up how powerful and scary these women are, which is really great. And then, a tiny detail I loved, when she's having a flashback to her terrible youth in America, and she's remembering an episode where she had a map of Europe, and she like kept looking at it. The mother comes up and just grabs the map. All the sound drowns out, and you only hear the crumpling sound, and then we cut back to the school, and it's very powerful.
The editing was really great in this film. It just
adventurous.
It's I mean, there's
experimental.
There's a split diopter. There's like a few. I think there's like a crash zoom on Caroline's face when Tilda's when like, Caroline, you know, basically like, I'm stealing your jumps.
Yeah. There's a couple of those. They're very good.
Yeah. It's really fun and it adds to this dreamlike, or not necessarily dreamlike, but surreal quality that everything in this film is slightly menacing and sometimes beautiful.
Absolutely.
But always grotesque.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I could just keep talking about shit I like, but like I like.
Yeah.
I pretty much.
Quick fire.
I pretty much like everything. So, put me down for everything.
One of everything. All right.
I'll have it that way. Thank you.
Well, I'll talk about dialogue. Some dialogue and performance moments I loved. Tilda Swinton saying when she says, I don't want to jump. Shouldn't I be, I'd rather be down here on the floor. She says,
what I really want is to be on the floor right now anyway.
Well, of course. That's because you're mistaking physical weakness with artistic preference.
Yes.
Fucking burn.
I loved, before she even, like, when she first talks back to, like, no, I want to stay down on the ground for this part of the thing, I'm like, shut up. When she gets told off, it's, But at the same time, I'm like, well, it's such the rule follower in me. I'm like, you got to listen to the actual choreographer of the piece, maybe.
She knows what she's up to. But, and I love also Tilda Swinton's line, 2 things that dance can never be again, beautiful or cheerful.
Yes,
break the nose of beauty.
I've got that. So I've got that written down. Yeah, that was from that whole conversation of, it should be a bolt of love. And talking about especially a dance company that's post World War II.
Yeah, where it can never be placating again. Dance can't just be pretty women sort of entertaining the masses and knowing their place. Dance has to be this form of magic that
powerful.
Will be the way in which they build their future.
Yeah. Gosh, anything Tilda Swinton does, including all the cigarettes she smokes.
Yeah, most of these are Tilda Swinton, actually.
Yeah, so many cigarette moments.
Cutting to a different Tilda, her as old man, the exposition on who the 3 mothers are. Again, I mentioned it earlier, I just love how that sounds. To cut to a different performer for once, Angela Winkler plays Miss Tanner.
Oh.
And she has a great witch laugh. when I think it's when Olga she has a great witch laugh. I think it's when Olga gets led away. She just kind of has a good cackle.
That's right, because Olga screams witches, and she just goes, she just laughs. I liked Miss Tanner as well.
Yeah.
You know, no, we can't. It's spoilers.
I think I know what you mean, though. It's very good.
Yeah, no.
When he gets taken.
Potentially.
Yeah. My last dialogue and performance moment is Dakota Johnson telling Klemperer what happened to his wife. Slight spoiler, but yeah, heartbreaking.
Yes. Yeah, there's some great lines in there. All the women who have been your undoing. And we need guilt and shame, but not yours.
There were 2 women with her.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I also like I am she.
Yeah, that's very good.
You guys who haven't seen the film don't know what we're talking about, but it's so good. It's so good.
Fuck you, Helena Marcos!
It's such a brutal and powerful line.
The dance to death is just horrific. And her disorientation and sort of desperateness just before things are about to happen is dreadful. And then, as we said, after she's a crumpled, horrible mess, you hear her stomach grumbling.
Yeah.
And it's so horrible because that's such a relatable thing. And you can just think, yeah, amidst everything else, if that had happened to you, your stomach would be really upset by the sudden jolting movements. And it's just, sounds silly, but it makes you relate to it.
Your stomach
it makes you think about the actual reality.
Your stomach would be upset from being twisted around several places.
It would make grumbling noises, and that makes you think about how that would feel. It's just, oh Jesus!
I love that
going
one.
In.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that scene, almost zero CGI. FYI.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Oh my God.
So cool. That performer is also a contortionist, and so it's mainly a mix of her being amazing and prosthesis for when things are broken. And I think some CGI for to add height for when she is kind of flip-flopped over. But apart from that, all her. So
all her, and it looks fabulous.
So good.
And then later on, when they come to get her, the hooks. First of all, I'll talk about that in a minute. But the hooks going in, the sound of the sort of. It's just really unpleasant. And then the look of it, the way they just sort of cleanly go in.
Yeah.
And then, just the quick drag, including the scurry of footsteps, just pulling her away is just horrific.
Yeah. It's not great, is it?
It's really not. And, the witch stabbing herself in the neck looked horrible. Again, it's just so plain and just so, straightforward. It just looks it really gets you. And then, the climax is just chaos. And it's gorgeous and intense.
Yeah, we can't talk about it, but it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
So infuriating. Why haven't you seen Suspiria?
Why haven't you watched Suspiria?
We just want to talk about it with you.
Suspiria.
Mother Suspiriorum.
Do you have any more, or should we talk about music?
Like I said, I pretty much really love everything, and yeah.
Fair enough.
I don't want to pinpoint everything all day. I'll probably just butt in when you're about to say something.
All right, well, let's talk about
the
music because I really... I think Tom York gives Johnny Greenwood, his old bandmate, a run for his money here in terms of soundtracking. It's so good.
Yeah. It's really soulful.
Oh, man. The main theme, Suspirium, is gorgeous.
This is a waltz thinking about our bodies, what they mean for our salvation.
Piano work there, and his voice is just beautiful, so melancholy. I like, for something a bit more upbeat, Has Ended is the name of the song that plays during the election. That sort of... and that's really good. Hooks is so creepy and unnerving. Unmade is devastating.
Come under my wings, little bird. Come under my wings. Unmade.
When Susie says that she wants to be the company's hands.
Oh,
there's a really great
yes.
little piece of music that plays.
You're in a company now. You have to find your right place. You have to decide. What is it you want to be for this company? Is it the head? The spine? The sex? The heart?
The hands. I want to be this company's hands.
And yeah,
Oh,
I
I
love
forgot
the
to
music.
pinpoint that, but that's some dialogue I really like as well. You know,
Yeah,
what do you want to be for this company? Do you want to be its head, its heart, its sex?
it's sex.
Yeah, and she goes, its hands. And it's like, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That's what Tilda Swinton says back.
That's so cool. Oh, that's a good line. Yeah, I really love as well that while the ending violence is so chaotic, the score is so somber and
Yeah.
beautiful. It's a nice little juxtaposition.
Yeah.
That makes you feel like
Absolutely.
this violence is almost right. it's almost
Yeah.
righteous. It's correct. It's you know, it's what happens when you see the mother of sighs.
Yeah.
These eternal mothers who are not nice, not good, not bad, not evil.
Yeah.
Just kind of representing all these sorrows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's such the approach to the violence of this thing, because it's such a complicated organization as the Helena Markos School of Dance. Like, yeah. All right, some miscellaneous stuff before my big thing. The chapter, it's split into 6 chapters, which I also kind of love. 6 acts and a prologue is in a divided Berlin, it says at the beginning, and that's such a like silent movie Dr. Caligari way of like setting up the movie, which really speaks to like Germany's cinematic history, which I love. And then 2 of the acts, one of them's called Taking, is Act 4, and that's a great name to call it. And then the Act 5 is In the Mutterhaus, brackets all the floors are darkness.
Yes, all the
which is
floors
really
are
good,
darkness. I love
really
that.
good title. I love ending on where it ends, the final shot. I love that. That's really poignant and great, because you'll never remember to go and look at that again.
Oh.
No one will ever know what that means again.
No, but
Oh man.
you know, things grow from sad things.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
you
God.
don't know whose bones you're trampling on as
That's
you move
true.
through life. Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Makes me think of the new Park Chan-wook movie. And then finally, before my big thing is the post-credit sequence is really unnerving in its simplicity. Like just her spraying something on the wall is and with that
Yes.
great music, and she's such a badass. Like
Yeah.
yeah,
In that Gucci dress.
she's setting up House of Gucci, starring Dakota Johnson.
Well, I believe Dakota Johnson was in a series of Gucci ads at this time, and this is when Gucci really exploded with its like basically faux 70s line. Like all of the fashion in this film, it was back to flowing, silky, floral fabrics, and Dakota
great.
Johnson being like the lead. First of all, did 2 things: made me convince me to buy Gucci. Which one was it? It was one of their perfumes, the one that came out around that time, which does smell very nice, but lasts like shit on my skin. It's like it's gone in like a minute.
Oh no!
And I was like, I don't know. Was there a collaboration with Suspiria and Gucci
I hope
for
so. I
like
hope there
the
was a sponsored
costuming and
range.
stuff? I don't know. Anyway, that's
You'll release 3 cents, Lacrimarum, Tenebrarum.
Gucci.
My favourite thing in Suspiria, my favourite sequences that fill me with excitement every time they happen are the dream sequences. I absolutely love these things. Just these abstract images, so beautifully assembled, so disturbing and unsettling. It just puts me in mind of like the videotape from Ringu or something. It's just pure expression of like pain and suffering, and so much history implied in it, which, you know, Guadagnino talked about the idea of making more movies that would explore like Helena Marcus's past and how she sort of came kind of like the Pearl to, you know, this ex.
Yeah.
You know, just exploring like the journey of the main villain is such a cool idea, and I wish that could happen. But I think the closest we're going to get now are these sort of bizarre images that come in dreams, which also pertain to Susie's dreams. And yeah, just some really haunting and memorable images, like her floating up the door jamb.
Yeah. Well, and
yeah.
one of them becomes one of the poster images, doesn't it? Or there's an image of Tilda Swinton with like her hair over her head, similar to like Ring, and she's
gorgeous.
She's lying and her dress is billowing out and just one exposed arm. It's a very beautiful pose. It's a great image.
Yep, it's on the cover of my Blu-ray of the film, and it's
great.
Absolutely fabulous. Yeah, so I love those dream sequences. Yeah, and I think that's just about it for what we have to say about Suspiria 2018.
Suspiria.
But there's a particular coven I would like to check in with to see if they have any thoughts. Ooh, let's get into the coven of the OGT-mium.
The OGT.
Mother OGT.
Excellent.
Now, nothing on Twitter and Facebook, but the patrons have not let us down. We have got Chris Attaway, who says, I've only seen the original and it was bloody years ago, but here's what I remember. Orange blood. That's it. Is it a good film? I don't know. Does it have orange blood, though? Again, I don't know. I can't remember very well. I might be thinking of Once Upon a Time in America. Now, that was some orange blood. Oh boy, that was blood orange. Blood oranges. Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
Just 2 hours ago, though, I've literally just finished watching the 2018 Suspiria.
Whoa.
It's brilliant. I loved it, and have since learnt that it was divisive, and some people hated it. I thought it was so good. Didn't feel too long. The dancing was unbelievable, and the way it cuts between the dancing and Olga in that scene. Oh man, I loved everything about it. Probably liked it more than the original, but like I said, can't remember it. Apart from the orange blood.
Wow.
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
And one other comment from Victor Gamboa. I'll never forget leaving the theatre after watching the remake. We all just sort of looked at each other, wondering what we had just witnessed. I enjoyed it on a different level than I do the original. I thought Tom York's score was excellent and contributed greatly to the viewing experience. By the time we got to the Volk dance sequence, I felt like I was watching a nightmare unfolding, which was amplified immensely in the Mother Suspirium sequence. 7 out of 10 in my book. Also worth mentioning, the track Suspirium is a great one to play when you're staring at the ceiling fan while lying on the floor. Pretty much anything Tom York has written is going to be... That's pretty much the mode to which he writes.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, absolutely true. Just a really stunning piece of work. And yeah, I really, really love this movie. It's one of my favorite horror movies of the last 20 years, I think.
Turns out we really like it.
Turns out it's good, in conclusion. We've been speaking for nearly as long as the original Suspiria, and we've decided it's quite good.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
They should let Guadagnino make some others in the same vein.
Well, speaking of which, do we have a one better thing? The one better thing?
Nah, it's this.
Or is it? Is this?
It's this.
Tell you what. Though.
What?
Last weekend.
What?
Saw the new Luca Guadagnino film.
Oh.
It's called Bones and All.
Yep.
It's an adaptation of a novel, I believe. It is a love story starring Timothée Chalamet and the girl who played the sister in Waves, and I need to know her name because she's amazing.
Oh, I just saw a trailer for that. It looks cool.
And it's got Mark Rylance. I'm very interested in how they're selling it because I went in knowing nothing beyond the fact that Luca Guadagnino directed it, and it really, really took me by surprise.
Yeah.
It is a really good follow-up to Suspiria. It's grisly, very violent in places, shockingly violent, but just a really beautiful and soulful story. and it still has awesome dream sequences. So it is
Yeah.
excellent.
Well, I can't wait to
I
see
really
that.
loved
Yeah,
it.
I just saw
Yeah.
like a trailer, and I watched a little bit before I just went back to. I'm sorry, YouTube. I will skip all the ads. I don't care if they're good ones. But
Even the things I want to see, I'm going to skip out of principle.
I also just don't watch a lot of trailers, so it was more like the trailer came up. I was like, "Ooh, I've not heard of that. That's cool." And then I clicked away because I try not to watch the trailers. Best.
No, I think it's for the
where I
best.
can.
Like, go in not knowing much, but yeah, find Bones and All as soon as it's out, which I think is soon.
Not in
go see it
Australia,
because-
mate.
They need it. Australia needs this.
Come on.
And
Yeah.
that, it's not really the one better thing. I think it's as good. That's the one as good thing.
The one is a good thing.
The one better thing. And oh no, that was me summing up. I just autopilot at this stage. Ellen!
Yeah.
How can people find out about Ellen?
Find me on Roll to Cast. That's ROLE to Cast. We are a any-winning variety TTRPG podcast. So we have 7 seasons, all different game systems. So you can pick which season sounds good to you. If you like Cyberpunk, go listen to seasons 1 and 3. If you like Vampire the Masquerade, go to seasons 2. We've got all sorts. They're self-contained stories.
Yeah.
Each episode is around 30 to 40 minutes for easy commutes. And it's fully acted and fully scored, often by Paul Goodman of this podcast.
Often of this podcast.
Yeah, so find me there. Find Roll to Cast on the socials, mainly Twitter. And, of course, we even have a Patreon where you can fund all the good stuff that we do. I also play
All of
at
it.
Sirenscape on Twitch every Friday for Cyberpunk Red. And I'm currently doing a Spelljammer series that we've just gotten back after a break, and that's on Saturdays, and it's really fun. So that's me.
Yeah. Fantastic. And yeah, OGT Pod, just do that. Type OGT Pod into anything you can get your hands on.
Anything.
And you'll probably find out something about us. You can find us on Twitter at OGT Pod, on Facebook, OGT Pod. And yeah, we have a Patreon where we can record all sorts of stuff, including this week a discussion of the original Suspiria. What have we got to say about that, you might wonder? Well, find out over in the Patreon. We're not giving anything away here. Blood Orange, I think? Something like that. And until then, until you sign up to the Patreon, I'm Paul Salt.
I am she.
And remember, the one good thing about Suspiria 2018 is that it's very, very good.
Yeah.